Hello, everybody. My name is Charlotte Ofklerker, and I work in corporate communications at Sobi. And I have been on this trip together with Wills during these 6 years, and it has been and continues to be a very intense and learning experience for everybody who's part of Sobi. So I will, to some sense, take off from where we were, connecting on to where Will's left here now, talking about a company where we've created this first company with a strong asset. But where do we go from here now? Is that strong asset enough to take us and to bear us into the future of the company, or do we need to look at how we build the company from this now? So that's what my presentation will focus on. So just to share, for those of you who don't know Sobi, just a short presentation of us. We are we're a biopharmaceutical company. We have decided to call us this. We're not a biopharma or biotech company, because a biotech company is often a small company who maybe have one asset. We are a complex company. We are a full pharmaceutical company, but based on biopharmaceuticals. So biopharmaceutical company is what we choose. And we are focused in the areas of hemophilia, immunology, and specialty care, all within rare disease, or most of them within rare diseases. We have an R&D in-house, and we also have a large platform of collaboration with partners. For instance, within hemophilia, we are now partnered after a number of mergers and acquisitions with one of the largest pharmaceutical companies in the world, which is Sanofi. One of opportunities and strengths. We also do in-house production. And we are now present in more than 25 companies and distribute pharmaceuticals to over 70 companies all over the world. And last year, we had revenues of 9.139 million SEK, which is, considering where we came from 6 years ago, is quite an amazing turnaround. And we are actually, I'd say it's 1,050 employees. If I keep this, I could have a ticker on this one, because we are increasingly growing in the recruitment. So this is really, we are in a strong growth phase right now. And so what's the vision of Sobi? Where do we want to? I said that we are present, we are now delivering into 60 companies, into 16 countries. But we have a vision to become global leaders in rare disease. That is a vision. It's a long-term vision of where we want to be. It's a pretty, it's a challenging vision for everyone, and I think it shows it shows quite a lot of enthusiasm. So, but again, we want to be, and I think this is something we want to be recognized as a global leader too. So it's not just the numbers. It's not just to be a global leader, but it's actually to be recognized. And by recognize is to bring in some of this thinking around how do we put the patients in the center? How do we commercialize within rare diseases, which is, I've heard people say it, if you know how to do rare diseases, you can do specialty care. But if you think you know how to do specialty care, it's not the same as rare diseases. It's a unique market with a small audience, a small stakeholder groups, and it demands something extra. So we really want to bring our thinking and our approaches and our business approaches as well into becoming this recognized as global leader. So where do we come from? As I said, we are a Swedish company in so many ways. We really have the history. Kabi Pharmacia, way back, one of the first to actually deliver the growth hormones, so already there in the biotech area. We became Pharmacia at that time when Sweden was the life science hub with both Pharmacia and Astra. Spun off, Pfizer bought Pharmacia. BioVitrum was left as the biotech part of Pharmacia because there were people in the organization who believed that biotech is the future, and the biologics is the future of these rare diseases. But as Will's described, BioVitrum, we had a a portfolio of R&D products. And we needed to commercialize. We needed to start the commercialization process. And we also needed revenues in order to invest into the commercialization. And what Swedish Orphan did and had was a portfolio of products that brought a good revenue in. So the Swedish Orphan commercial portfolio was feeding in to the hemophilia structures and the investments that we needed to do. And thus becoming Sobi. And the growth that we have seen in the past 5 years, I would say here is the 2016 is when we began to launch the hemophilia products in both, and we only have the European market and the Middle Eastern market in hemophilia. The rest of the world is owned by Sanofi, thus that is how the structure of the deal looks. So, as was described, we had an extremely successful hemophilia launch, much due to the fact that when we came with the products, when we brought the products to the market knew what we were going to bring, and they were prepared for it. And the discussions with the pricing agencies and with the healthcare community it had already begun. So the rollout was much faster. But we do see now, so we want to continue growth. We want to continue to grow Sobi. And we have identified a number of growth opportunities. And it's both grow within hemophilia and immunology, drive market expansion, and increase the US market presence. And this then has been defined in what we are now presenting as our strategy. Because if we look at these different parts, right? Okay, so we have products within hemophilia that we believe very strongly in. We have launched them, but the market penetration is not complete, and there are still a number of patients that are not accessing our treatments. So we continue with that. But we also realized that when we started this successful trip within hemophilia, we also became very vulnerable. You may have, for those of you who have followed the Sobi stock, you also see that when we have competitors who come out with new results, it dips down, and the insecurities around us become down. So we realized that in order for us to build this security and stability within Sobi, we need a strong leg. We need a strong second leg. And this is where it's sort of coming back, right? We said before that the specialty care was what was fueling our hemophilia investments. Now it's time to give back to the teams who spent all this time, who felt, well, why isn't the money coming to my team? Well, now it's payback time. This is now when we're building the immunology franchise. We actually defined it as immunology last year when we made our 2 larger acquisitions within this area. We knew that it would be in rare diseases and within, but exactly what area, the focus is now much more clear. We can speak openly about it, and our focus will be in immunology. But we want to become a global leader. With Swedish Orphan, we had a very solid ground for a European commercial organization that we understood very well. And during the years we had 52 people in the US. They do a great job with the products they have. They continue to grow. We have double-digit growth in the US. But consider when we're out seeking partners and seeking new products to commercialize, where we want to say to them, we believe in ourselves. Do you believe in us? Do you want to bring your product to us where we can commercialize it for you? They're going to say, 52 people in the US? How are you going to do that for me? So we realized then, too, that if we truly want to become global, we need to start building a global organization as well. So focus then has been, and that was the Synagis deal that we did at the very end of this year. We had 133 highly qualified people join us within the area of pediatrics and immunology. Thank you. That's exactly where we want to be within rare diseases. So now all of a sudden we have an organization in the US of 230 people. And that kind of commercialization capacity with people who know the business, who know the rare disease market, and who know the area, so the perfect fit there of what we were looking for. And then we also want to strengthen the R&D pipeline. We have been talking about this, but it was quite clear. We had a very strong late-stage pipeline. That's the one we launched a couple of years ago. We have some really interesting early phase products. We have quite an empty phase 2, phase 3. We need to be able to bring things to the market. So our focus then has been said, let's build our R&D pipeline. We can't we can't do it ourselves because we may be reaching there in 5, 7, 10 years, but we need to fill something in the meantime. So one of our focuses then is to fill the pipeline within R&D. So this is a strategy that we defined with CEO Guido Elkers joining us a year and a half ago, and it has created quite a lot of clarity around where Sobi is going. We can't be being traded on Nasdaq. We can't talk about exactly what we're going to buy. So we need to stock out a way. We need to convey a vision both for the investors who are interested, but also for all our employees who are working at Sobi who need to be on this, who we need to enthusiasm to get on this trip as well. So just to show you, this is now what our portfolio looks like. So we have our 2 strong products within hemophilia A and B. Continue with Kineret, just what it can be like being a small company. When we purchased, or when we it was a business development deal that had, as you may know, a lot of so you buy a portfolio. Some succeed, some others don't. This was in the BioVitrum times, and within one of the portfolios, Kineret was a product, but they didn't have any commercialization. They didn't have any sales because, as I said, it was an R&D company. So how did we do when we started? All of a sudden, we got sort of Kineret was in the portfolio. We started selling it. We had to market, because if a minus cost actually becomes a profit. So the entire, when we started out within BioVitrum, and before we had the commercial organization, we had to mark the beginning of sales as a minus cost, and that was then something that would be plus in the books. So we've been there and we've started there, and now we have now we've added these products to the portfolio, the Gamifant product was approved and launched in the United States in November. It was acquired by Sobi from the Novimmune company in a Swiss company. We acquired it in July, and then we have, as I described before, the Synagis product, which is a product for RSV virus. So RS virus. Very small children who can acquire the virus early in days and can be very... Is this a rare disease? No, it may not be, but the market is quite similar. It's a highly specialized, it's a very vulnerable patient group. So the approaches to how we talk to the patient, how we talk to the market in this case, are very similar as to approaches within rare diseases. But again, here it's very much the sales force that is the strong asset that we have. We are growing in a very conscientious way in the US. So why do we focus on rare diseases? Well, because there is a great unmet need. There is a great unmet need in this space, and it's because we also believe it's where we can make the largest difference. And here we've always been talking about making transformative change. That's why the biology is so important to understand, to really grasp, because it's the biology that's going to make. If we need to package it so that we have the price, that we understand everything, but if we don't have the biology behind it, then we're not going to get there. And there's a lot of spaces here left to explore. Just to show this too, that access to treatment is key. It is difficult to get products on the market. It's a highly regulated space. This is one of the keys why that Swedish orphan brought, where they established into Europe. A number of companies, another number of products were available in the US. They were approved in the US and actually might even have been approved in Europe. But 26 markets, 26 pricing and reimbursements that you had to go through. A lot of just US companies says, well, we're not going to bother with it. We're not going to bother with Europe. It's too difficult. It's too complex. However, what and also if they do, they need to establish this entire space of logistics. And can you imagine what the cost of that product is if you have to establish all this infrastructure? So what Sobi did was we enabled through the infrastructure that we already had in place, we could bring products into our portfolio as well and offer this, and through them and through that then commercialize products effectively. And this is what we are. When we are out speaking, we showcase how we have managed to bring the hemophilia products to the European market. And of course, we always need to prove ourselves into partners, but we believe that we have a very strong offering in order to bring new products in. As a company, and as the if I show the different our different business areas, starting out with hemophilia, we believe that we have been able to position these products as truly bringing a different opportunity to patients, to people living with hemophilia. It's not just about convenience. These products we have their extended half-lives, which means that they stay in the body for longer than the conventional treatments, the treatments that were on the market before. So what we are now showing is that yes, it is really important to only be able to, for patients to not have to inject every second day. You can, I sometimes have an image where showing the difference between what a person's personal calendar looks like if they need to inject every day or every second day to actually injecting every fourth day or every week. It makes a huge difference, but it's not just convenience. And we have been working, and this is evidence building. I think that's, again, we need to answer what are we bringing to the table more than just a product? What is the change that we are creating for these people who live with hemophilia every day? And we are seeing that now. We are bringing real world evidence around how a person with hemophilia will bleed most often in their joints, for instance, or so on. It's called a target joint. That continuous bleeding in a target joint breaks down the cartilage and finally becomes a disability for these patients. We have shown now that with the products that we use, we can raise the effects of the treatment. So what we are also doing is we have decided to really bring a commitment within hemophilia. And I think this is where it comes sort of into from what we are able to do now as a growing company, where we can start to also commit to bringing more things, not just maybe a product, but actually some life changing. So Sobi is presenting a commitment around liberating life for patients with hemophilia, and I think it's very strong. And it's amazing that we've come so far that we are able to come with this commitment as well. I'm getting nervous now, and you're standing beside me here, but but again, I just want to show you within specialty care here. Really the dedication to the rare disease community. And I think there are some keys here. Again, how have we come to the idea of the vision of liberating life for people with hemophilia? Well, it's not something we have sat in our offices to understand, to dream up ourselves. we have been listening to patients. We've been working together with the community for ages. We want to be part of the community and give something back to the community as well. And that's what we've been doing. If we look at one of our products, for instance, Orfidin, a year and a half ago, there was generic competition. But we have managed to keep the market in place, not because the products are identical, but it's because of our approach and what we're offering, what we are able to offer patients more than just the product. And that demands that you understand the community. It also understands, so we've been able to customize our development and our offering to patients by listening to the community and by understanding them. And that's what we continue to do, both within hemophilia, within specialty care, and within immunology. So just to show this finally, this is, our strategy is, we presented this last year. It continues again this year. Our focus will be in these areas in the coming years. And the ambition is really to become a global leader within rare diseases and hope to bring a new, larger scale pharma company into Sweden. I think that is. It's fun. To really be able to say that we are the largest Swedish pharmaceutical company, just over 1,000 people.
Which is great. Thank you very much.